And we're live. Thank you for joining us. No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, I think a lot of people honestly could relate to what we were kind of saying, which is like, it's easy to feel when you move or whenever you're like trying to do something new. I feel like most of the experience for a lot of things in life that are worth doing, a majority of the time feels painful and like it feels like you're not making any progress. For me, sometimes it happens like in a wave where it takes a really long time to like, for example, study some Korean. I have to study for like a month or I have to work out for like a month. And then suddenly, like one day I realize like how much progress I made, but it happens like, it's not like in the moment, especially when you're like bored and like if I'm working out, it's like, oh, this sucks. I hate this. Or it's like if I'm, studying, it's like, oh, I'm just so tired of studying. But then, I have a conversation with someone in Korean and I'm like, holy shit, I actually couldn't do that a month ago. So I feel like maybe do you feel like that's what you're experiencing?
Yes, kind of similar. Because I think most of the people who are trying to learn a different language go through those kind of things. But the key is you're gonna stick with it, keep going or not. So I decided keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. And you chose a very difficult language. So,
But
right.
for you, Korean is also the difficult one, I think, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
So we're on the same, we're similar.
Yeah, similar.
Similar situation.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I don't know. I think one of the few things that I feel I'm pretty sure about now that I'm at this point in my life, my 30s, is like consistency is probably the most powerful tool.
Right. So true.
Especially like, with like being fit. Like I feel if you like work out every day, like just working out every day, it could be like a week even, and you're just like not really seeing any progress. If you look at like numbers, it's kind of demoralizing because, especially if you look at weight is like I feel like a terrible way to measure fitness like success because you gain and lose weight so easily depending on factors that have nothing to do with how like lean your body is. Like water, salt, inflammation, like all these things add weight to you that when you go onto a scale, if like you could, like there was literally a day just the other day, I gained 5 pounds in one day.
Wow. In
I
one
weighed
day?
myself. I weighed myself at night and then I weighed myself the next day and I gained 5 pounds.
What did you do?
The thing was, I was in I followed like a keto diet. So I don't really eat a lot of carbohydrates.
I see.
So I made a video, or actually, no, I was meeting up with some Koreans
Mm-hmm.
and they brought me to this Korean restaurant. So
Mm-hmm.
we ate a lot of carbs.
I see.
And I kind of felt they were older and I kind of felt rude saying no because they wanted to like eat like desserts and stuff. So I ate all these desserts and I hadn't eaten them.
Wow.
And I didn't gain 5 pounds of fat, but I gained 5 pounds of my muscles suddenly had carbohydrates in them. I'm just simplifying that. Suddenly my muscles have all these carbs in them and each gram of carbs holds 4 grams of water. So I just suddenly gained like for each carb that I ate, I like gained all this water weight plus salt from all the Korean food. So the next day, then in like 2 days, I lost all that weight again.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's just water, But the point is like these fluctuations I feel like it's just every domain that you're trying to work on has something like this where it's like you can see an improvement one day or feel like a heavy improvement. And then the next day it feels like you made a regression, like took steps backwards,
Yeah, the
But
thing is, I trying to do yoga every morning. I'm trying to go running or do workout in my place. So I keep doing it. So after a few weeks later, there's sometimes that I feeling like I don't want to, I want to skip it because there is nothing I can see any improvement in the middle. But when I started to skip again and again, then the worst situation I go through. So
yeah,
so the default getting worse. So yeah, so for me, I cannot see any improvement because for me it feels like same things every day. But if I skip even one day, the days feels different for me in a bad way. So I cannot help keep doing those things, even I cannot see any improvement visually, because I know if I skip even one time, that draw me into the bad cycle.
Yeah. There's so much to talk about here because like, especially with yoga or working out, the thing that's crazy is like, do you know entropy?
Yeah, I heard of it. I heard of it.
It's a kind of a very complex topic. Like I actually heard the word entropy for like years and I couldn't understand what it was. And then finally I understand. But basically, to put it simply, it's just that it's like, it's kind of, I actually don't even know if it's a law of science, but the idea is just like when you organize something or when you affect something, it will become unorganized with over time, like decay, basically. It's the idea of decaying or like dissolving, or it's like when you have a garden and you clean the garden, no matter what happens over time, weeds are going to grow, the rocks are going to shift, and the garden is going to get messy and chaotic. And then you have to go back and you have to reorganize it.
Yeah.
And it's this like, and humans are basically fighting entropy all the time. We're just fighting. Our bodies are dissolving. Our cells are evolving. Like we're getting older. Our processes are getting more difficult to deal with and more chaotic, and, irregularities and mutations and cancer and all this stuff. And it's like our bodies are fighting this until the day we die. And it's such a
Till we
battle.
die. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a battle, And with working out, you're like confronting this reality, you're like, every time you work out, you're like confronting your mortality, because every day you get a little closer to death, and your body, and you get closer to like paralysis, not like being paralyzed, but like losing the function of your body, So working out is just like your little attempt to organize your body so that it doesn't so that it can like last longer, but eventually it's going to stop working, one day. So working out is crazy. It's like fighting against nature. Obviously it's like good for you, but like our natural state is just to decay, but we are like telling our body, signaling to our body, like, no, keep going, keep generating cells, keep healing yourself, like keep doing this. You got to keep doing it. That's what working out is. But every day you wake up and you have to face, like if you're doing yoga, I've done yoga for a long time. Like you wake up and you go stretch. Some days, something that felt normal the day before, you can't even do. And it's like, because your body is just dealing with the fact that it's, evolving, this ever evolving, ever changing, ever chaotic being, and it's like, yeah, it's hard. It's stressful.
It's hard. So when it comes to working out, just trusting yourself and pushing yourself, it's kind of the process to learn how to deal with any stressful things, but still which we have to stick to, I think. So yeah.
Well, because if you don't keep yourself going, then you're just going to become a garden with weeds, You're just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No flowers.
No flowers, just weeds. So I feel you. It sucks,
It's
but it's necessary. It's a necessary evil.
yeah, life is really fun thing.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, right? It's like the journey that's where the beauty is. And you have to like, if you can learn how to appreciate that, you can have a healthier mindset, because like, so actually this is what's amazing, is that my whole life I fought against working out. I hate like running, for example. Like when I was a kid, it's like, everyone's like, you got to run, you got to jog. Jogging in the US is like the big thing. Like go jogging. Fucking hate jogging. And so like, I just like, I grew up thinking like, I hate working out because I hate jogging. That's like the same thing in my brain because I'm just a dumb kid. And now in my 30s, I finally discovered jumping rope, and I have so much fun jumping rope. Like, I love it.
Really?
Yeah. So I wake up in the morning, some days, even when I'm tired, and I'm like,
Yeah.
normal days. Okay. If this was like jogging and I had to wake up and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to go jogging. I don't want to, I'm tired. I'm this, whatever. It's the total opposite, because now when I'm tired, I'm like, I'm so tired, but I really want to jump rope. Like I really want to go and do this. So when
That's
people
good for
tell
you. Yeah.
when people tell you like, follow your heart, do what you love, it's like more than that. It's like, now I understand that so differently, because it's like, the reason that that makes sense is because if you don't follow what you love and do what you love, eventually life is going to stop you from doing it. Even the most disciplined people, like you have to be so disciplined that it's like almost unreasonable to actually always keep moving forward in something that you don't love. But if you love something, it's so natural to just keep doing it.
Right. We cannot help.
Yeah, exactly. So now I've been jump roping every single day, 30 minutes to an hour every day. I've lost 30 pounds since I came.
Wow.
15
That's
kilos.
huge.
Yeah, 15 kilos since I got to Korea. My body fat's down like almost 10%. And I'm going to start working. I'm on like a cut right now. So eventually I'll gain more weight and gain muscle. But like, I don't really, whatever. I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to be like Brad Pitt from Fight Club. I'm not trying to like be a bodybuilder. Classic. Anyway, that's just a little bit about me. But yeah, I think language, I don't know, with language, how's the German going?
I haven't skipped studying German for a while, maybe a few days, almost a week. And now I just started again. And yeah, it's getting easy. It wasn't that difficult than I thought myself. Just, when
You are very smart.
yeah, I just built a barrier in my mind of those things that I have to do. And I just kept pushing and gave so much pressure to myself, even though it's not necessary and it's nothing like this in real. And I found myself, I'm kind of those type person who think of those things too much, which ultimately gives too much pressure and unmotivated. Yeah. So it is easy. Just do it. But for me, it's not easy because in my mind, things are ongoing too much. So I have no idea. But at least I know I shouldn't consume my days like this. Just feeling lost. And when I feel lost and something that I feel unconnected with some things that I have to do, and when I feel lost, I just keep eating. I
I know. Yeah, I'm the same.
I keep eating. That's the easiest way to get pleasure, right? Without any effort, because we're living in abundance of food, whether it's not nutritious or not. We can
Right.
have food anytime, anything.
And like crazy food, like super high calories, fat,
Yeah.
like all this stuff,
Yeah, all the food these days which we can get easily are too processed food, which doesn't exist in nature. So it's totally harm your body. But although I know it, I cannot help keep eating. Just grab something to eat. So I think it's kind of like we need something to focus always. But if we don't have anything to focus, or just the motivated is getting less motivated, we find something easily to focus and keep doing. And eating is the thing. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, people are different, some people like binge TV shows, some people eat, some people do both, some people
Both.
some people do drugs. I mean, there's like a lot of different things that people do. I'm with you
Right.
though. For me, food is so comforting. And there have been times in my life where I've definitely used food to comfort myself in times where I feel stressed.
But to be honest, it doesn't comfort me at all because it gives the opposite effects that I've been building myself. Working out to lose weight and getting be in the shape, but eating continuously gives opposite effect, right?
But it's temporary. The pleasure is like comforting in the moment,
For me,
Suddenly, okay, so this is how like your situation especially is like, you and I are similar, I think, in that we're very like the kinds of people, we have a lot of goals. We set our vision on something and then we like have a plan and we attack it, and we have I'm a little bit more chaotic than you, I think.
Really?
I don't really have as much of a plan. But you're, I think, very structured. I'm more like, but we still have these very big, like.
Thank you for saying like that, but for me, I don't think so. Me neither. I'm not
Okay.
this structured. I hope so.
Well, I feel like even people would think that just compared to many people, even just what you've already said here, I think people would think, oh, you're pretty structured, like having a routine, doing a certain amount of studying every day, certain amount of yoga in the morning. Like it's pretty structured.
Yeah,
I think.
sounds structures, but for me, there's a gap. There's a gap between two personas. One keep tracks of her routine, and the other doesn't do at all and just whiny. I don't want to do this, something like this, because just I'm alone, to be honest, and there's no one that I can do something productive together, studying German or working out, doing yoga, something like this that I want to stick to. So it is not easy to just doing things without someone I can follow or do together. So it's my own fighting.
Yeah. Are you motivated by other people? Do you feel like if you were going to do yoga or study German, if you have other people, do you feel like you're more excited about doing it?
Yeah, actually, when I run and somebody go running faster than me, I get motivated.
So that's so Korean.
Really?
Yeah, like being competitive. That's like Koreans are known for being competitive.
The other things, I don't think so. My motivation is just the desire to be settled, and yeah. Being settled means a lot to me. Not only just have financial structured, but also just state of mind and free time and power, power. I don't want to abuse them, but but I feel myself I have to get those things as soon as possible to spend pleasant time with my loving people, and I just want to give things and provide things, not just the money things, but invite people and something like this. It take a cost, so I don't want to get stressed about those things. I just want to support them pleasantly, not worried about my financial condition. I have no idea why I'm kind of those people, but yeah, I suck of those things when I was a kid. Yeah, so that's my goal because yeah, it is.
I mean, it's interesting that you say you're not structured, but that's like a very clear vision of that's what I guess what I wanted to say is like you have a very clear ideas of exactly what you want, maybe, but yeah, so maybe you are more like me. I mean, it sounds like you said you have both, when I was lately, when I've been working out, I've been like, this is going to sound kind of crazy. Honestly, this is pretty personal. I don't like being around people, especially like if I'm working out or something, because I feel like I'm always having this inner dialogue. Like, when people are around me, I kind of get distracted from what I'm doing. I start thinking about them or like noticing them or paying attention, or they distract me. When I'm by myself, sometimes I just like scream, like if I'm working out, I like really go inside of myself and like find energy that if I was distracted, I wouldn't, and focused that I wouldn't have. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's also the similar reason that I don't join any running club or just go some bars to socialize because I feel lonely. But at the same time, I don't want to get bothered or get distracted by others.
Right.
It's kind of like I always need my own space, physically and psychologically. I have no idea. It's kind of paradox. Everything is paradox.
I mean, yeah, we are social creatures. I was having this thought.
Creatures, yeah.
I was having this thought in the shower today about, because I've been talking a lot about collectivism and individualism because of like Korea. Like one of the big things that comes up for me when people are like, when I'm talking about Korea is like Korea being a collective society, US being an individualistic society, like as like a value at their core.
Yeah.
But I realized I think that individualism is kind of a scam.
Okay.
And I realized that because nothing that I have, I can do by myself. My whole life is built off of other people.
That's
and
true.
there is this like idea that like, especially, I don't know if it's, honestly, I don't know what it's like in Korea because I haven't had these kinds of conversations yet. But if you listen to like rap music or, which is obviously like how a lot of people in the US like take in their culture. If you watch movies and, like a lot of movies, and if you just honestly deal with people in the workplace, you can see like a lot of people really feel like independent, like they're independent. No one is independent,
Yeah,
no
no
one.
one can be. Right.
No one can be independent. Maybe there are different levels of independence, but most people that I know are very far from independent. It's just like we sell this illusion of independence to people, and somehow that makes them feel something. I don't know what it makes them feel. But when I see Korea, I see a place, at least for me, it feels like a place where there's more acknowledgement of how the collective is more powerful than the independent. And that feels much more true to me, to reality of like how life is. And I'm realizing like to me personally, like, I mean, this isn't like a fact, but if I had to guess why Korea is successful, I would say, I think that things are successful when they're true. Everything, the truth includes everything, but like something that is like, the more true something is, I think the more success it has in what it's trying to achieve. And I think that Korea is more successful as a nation in these days than many other nations because I think it's very true to what it's trying to achieve. And like it does, one of the ways it does that shows its true nature is that it embraces collectivism. And collectivism is really what we are as a species, a collective, instead of a bunch of individuals. So yeah, I don't know. I've just been thinking about that.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea, to be honest. Yeah, also, our social animal, social creature, you said, and individualism goes opposite from our human instinct. Or maybe it is an excuse for just to show their identity. They want to be protected as their own identity, as their own being. So just respect me and something like this. And I don't think it's not a good idea, but yeah, there's always trade-offs.
Mm.
And yeah, but also I just said collect being collective has some power,
Yeah.
and that also the drive, the power, which we could get independent from Japanese conquer because we collected and do something together.
Yeah, I think like talking about power, I feel like that's what I think it's actually been like this long process of going into individualism for like places like the US, which is like a very new nation. It's like, I think individualism makes sense as like, but I think it's like, how they say the pendulum, do you know pendulum? It's like the thing that goes like this, goes back and forth. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like on the
Maybe.
clock, it swings back and forth, right? So we used to always be collective and then it's swinging and now we're going to individual, but we have to eventually go back to collective and it goes back and forth. Anyway, this is this idea.
Yeah, that's an interesting description. I think it makes sense in every dynamics in the world, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so I think new countries are pushing towards independence or individualism because we were swinging that way naturally because like historically people who had power were individuals, independent. Like you have fame, you have like these famous people like kings, like everyone knows who the king is. Everyone knows who the town philosopher like Socrates is. Everybody knows who Jesus is. We like the idea of independence and individualism is really a symbol of power when everyone is in a collective. If you're in a collective and you are individualized and that collective supports you, the individual is extremely powerful because they're part of an organization. They have all the power of the organization. And let's say you're Jesus. I'm just using this as a random example. Let's not use Jesus because it's religious. Let's use like a king. Let's say you're a king. Now you have all the power of the people, the collective, but they are upset. They like bow to you. So you're like this individual inside of the collective that is more powerful than anyone else. You control the collective, So you actually almost control almost all the power. And I think what happened over time is like people realize that when they are by the way, this is a totally original idea. I'd never read this, so I don't know if this is like real or not. But like, if you're an individual, people, I think, notice the pattern. Individuals have power in the collective. So they want to become individuals. They want to be the person that everybody knows and says, I want to be like that person. We should give power to that person, because then they have control over a group. But what's happening now in like the US, for example, is everyone is trying so hard to get power from being an individual that there's no collective anymore. So there's actually no power. It's just we lost all the power of the collective, and everyone's trying to be an individual, but they don't have any power to control. So now it's like chaos in the US. It's like, and I think that we're going to, as long as people still keep denying this collective mentality, I think we're going to get further away from, or it's going to be more and more chaotic and more like people are going to get less and less powerful, and collectives are going to start to become more and more powerful. Because that's why one reason I feel like the US is in a very bad place right now. Too many people being individuals and they have no power.
For me, in my opinion, the point that individual become a trend is people started to competitive, just compete with each other, because we live in a capitalism, and it's getting more big and big. So also that lead the competition of each other, school, work, any place, getting worse and getting more tough. So yeah, so the collectiveness, they less regard, they less appreciate to be together and to help each other, and just they wanna win from others. So that lead individualism take the priority. I think as far as I see the word.
It's interesting, like, because, for example, you can still do that. Like, Korea could still be a collective society and compete. Like, competing with other people, I don't really know if it's like inherently like going to promote individualism.
These days, individualism getting bigger in Korea as well. Well, there's a word we use in Korea. Maybe you have heard of it, 정. We cannot translate into another language because it's our own concept of just something in our mind. We interact with some people. 정 is kind of a collective term, I think. It's really hard. Let's look up. I'm gonna look up to Google. So you can translate it into affection, but it's more deep than affection, I think. Just bonding together, familiarity, connection, something like this. We feel those things even though they are not just a friend or family.
Yeah.
Just as a same human being, there is a song, and
like Koreans want to protect like other Koreans, right? And like,
not only
even if
Korean,
they don't know them.
I think the song also work to other foreigner. Just some dumb asshole discriminate other foreign people, but song is when you just see someone and it's been quite a few days, it consists quite a few days, and there's kind of we feel each other. So like helping without any reason.
Yeah, like Koreans definitely, I've noticed that. Like one way that it really pops out to me and like is if you go out at night in Seoul and someone is too drunk, people will take care of that person.
Yeah, those kind of things.
Oh.
Yeah. And also we share rice cake, which is called in 떡 in Korea. In traditional way, we share to our neighbors when we moved into the another place at first. To just, I'm your new neighbor, and let's just 잘 지내자. Let's stay well together.
Yeah. That's like, so in the US, that actually, if you look at like old US media, that happened before. Nowadays, it's not a thing anymore. So I feel like that's where individualism brings you. You become so selfish and so focused on your own life, you forget that your power is in the collective. And that's that's like definitely one reason why I really respect and appreciate Korea and love living there is like, I feel even as a foreigner, I still feel more connected to Korean culture and Korean collective than I do even being able to speak and understand the culture of the people that I'm surrounded with in the US. I still feel more collective in Korea, part of the collective.
I think that makes me comes up with an idea. Korea, the past Korea, people were all poor. So there is nothing like someone is really rich, but the other is not that rich. We all struggled with our difficulty. Now these days, the poverty gap, the polarism getting worse, the gap getting bigger, and that leads to individualism because they cannot share their background because those are totally different, and some people really feel inferiority complex. So those lead to individualism because they cannot understand each other. They cannot share their things. So that leads to individualism, I think. And, US is the
highest income inequality.
Yeah, the start and the cradle of capitalism. And so the polarization started in the beginning of the USA. So it's getting normal to just being separate each other. So yeah, that's my opinion. That's my guess.
So that's just like also my warning to, I mean, I totally agree with you. And that's a warning to Korea is like, because Korea is a capitalist country, but it's like, do you want to be like the US? I don't think that Koreans want to be living in a place like the US. So
that's too tough mentally.
I mean, it's also just not pleasant,
Yeah.
It's not a good quality of life. Like no, most people go to Japan, they go to Korea, places that are collectivist, and they say, wow, imagine living this quality of life. It's like everyone agrees on that, So I just like a warning to Korea is like, obviously capitalism has a lot of advantages and I totally support the country's economic development and I understand and support its movements like continued capitalism, but just don't forget, it's like this classic saying, like, don't forget where you came from. Try to always hold on to that, find the balance, because if you go too far, it's going to be bad. There's something I want to talk about. There's something that's really been bugging me lately.
Yeah, what is it?
It's a word. It's a word. Have you ever heard of the word Koreaboo?
Koreaboo?
Koreaboo.
No.
No.
What is
Well, it's boob without the B. No last B. B-O-O.
Koreaboo?
Koreaboo.
I heard of Korea discount, but no idea about Koreaboo. What is it?
Okay. Have you ever heard of the word weeaboo?
No? What is that?
This is a really important moment because a lot of people on the internet think, like, here is a prime example of a Korean person having never heard of the word Koreaboo. Okay, just clipping this for all of you guys to see on the internet. Koreans don't even know the word. Okay, so here's the thing. The United States is a broken place in many ways. People specifically are very broken. And one way that they're broken is like they love to get offended for other people about stuff that doesn't even offend the person that they're defending.
It says Korean boo is perhaps a non-Korean person who obsessed with Korean culture like K-pop and K-dramas. Is it right?
Yeah, that's right. But we're going to get into the details because it's important. The point is, like, you're a Korean person, you don't even know what this word is, but Westerners are like attacking other Westerners, calling them Koreaboo, saying like that there's like, for example, I could be TikTok streaming and someone can come into my channel and be like, you're a Koreaboo, right? And then like try to attack me and offend me. But basically they're doing it because they feel like Koreans need to be defended against me. But Koreans don't even know what the word is. They're so it's like, it's just like a crazy situation. By the way, no one's calling me a Koreaboo, but it's very popular on the internet right now. Like so many people are talking about it. And so many people are coming up with terrible definitions of the word. So I want to bring you through this. So the first thing is, what is a Koreaboo? Yes, a Koreaboo basically is a word to describe a person who is obsessed with Korean culture, but typically it's like the fantasies of Korean culture, not like the real culture. So that's why they say K-pop or K-drama, because like many people who've never been to Korea might think, oh, if you go to Korea, there's just a bunch of idols walking around.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Or they think like, oh, like I'm going to go to Korea and I'm going to date a Korean guy and it's going to be like a K-drama, you know? So those people are Koreaboos.
I see, but I can understand them as well because because everybody just want to show and see things, something beautiful and seems like a good point of view. Yeah, so if they are only exposed by those kind of things, I cannot say it's their fault to get obsessed with those showy situations. But also there is a chance we have to take a look in a different point of view about the reality. Also, I don't think it's only about Korean boo. Everyone has something boo, right? So for me,
Can I ask you
Mm.
if like, do you think that now that you know what the word is, do you think that Koreans in general know what this word is? Do you think that they care at all about
I don't
these
think
people?
so. I don't think so. Even though I do not contact with Koreans that often, but I don't think so. And they don't care about those things, I think. And for me, so thanks for K-drama and K-pop's Korea getting famous as being Korea, right? Also, there's some kind of distorted image, kind of stereotype might exist, but it's inevitable and it's kind of transaction period. It's kind of so I think people in Korea more like appreciate two of people out of the country because they take interest, pay attention more to Korea. Yeah, because they just proud of those things, those trends nowadays. And I don't think they hate Korean books and something like this because they love Korean drama. That is all. And that is just cute thing. Just dreaming of, oh, I would like to date with those people from those K-drama and K-pop, something like that. That's just a cute things, I think.
Yeah.
There's too much hate. They create something to hate, and that looks silly.
So why do you think that Westerners care so much about this Koreaboo? If Koreans aren't talking about it and it doesn't really bother them, why do you think that?
So let me clear. So is it true that Westerners take too much care of Korean boos?
So yeah, like I was, for example, if you're like a content creator making content about Korea, there's a chance that someone could come into your channel or something and start like calling you a Koreaboo. Basically, it's like a negative. It's like they're attacking you, saying that like you're weird.
Yeah, you're saying like
Or-
you're Korean nerd, right?
Oh, well, you know, like, have you ever heard of the word passport bro? Passport bro is someone who travels. It's like a guy, typically American or European, so from some wealthy country, and they travel to places in the world where that are less successful, and they try to use their influence, their money, maybe their status, their race, whatever, to try and basically sleep with women.
There's some
So that's
people in Korea too, and yeah, globally,
Globally.
it's phenomena.
Yeah, so this is called a passport bro. So like if you call someone, like if you know someone who like is doing this, traveling around, but the same way that Koreaboo is mostly about people who care about K-pop and K-drama, Passport Bro is like more specifically about guys that if they didn't do this, if they didn't go to a different country, they kind of would never be able to have a relationship or something.
Yeah, especially there's a time just we also Korean who just collect with Koreans each other. So we are lack of understanding other races, and especially when it comes to white people to and black people, yeah, it's kind of some dangerous topic, I know, but people were tend to be more nice to white people because there was some stereotype about those things like superior, they are more superior, something like this. And yeah, also there's a time some white people were dominant in as influencing globally. So yeah, so also in that point, those people must be white people, right? The passport guy.
Well, it
And
could be. It doesn't have to be a white person. It could be
really?
anyone. Yeah.
Mm.
Like for
Oh.
example, if you were from Dubai and you're a billionaire, you're a prince, and you go, well, I see what you're saying actually. No, because then they're not really a passport bro because a prince could easily find someone to love and date in his own country, right? But I don't know, like in the US, there are plenty of I think there are, for example, are plenty of like non-white passport bros from the US.
Okay, so
Because in the US, it's not like just white people. The United States is a very powerful, influential country still, but not everybody from the US is white. It's a very diverse country.
yeah, it is.
Right.
It just they can take advantage of their nationality regardless of which race they are. Yeah.
A good example is like, a lot of, and it's a two-way street, it's not just like one way, but I don't know if there's a word for the women that date passport bros, but it's like, let's say, for example, I think Thailand is a country that's very well known for passport bros going to Thailand.
Yeah.
And so you can have like this really like older, fat, maybe somewhat successful or rich like guy dating like some 20-year-old girl, and she like 19, 20-year-old girl having kids, and just like they totally don't match in like if he was in the US, he would never be able to attract a girl like that, but in Thailand he can, because maybe she's like, I want to be an American citizen, or I want to have kids with someone who's like wealthy, so it's a contract, right? It's still like they choose each other, but that's like, so that's a passport bro, but this is not about passport bros. This is about Koreaboos, and Koreaboos are kind of, I think a similar, the way people think about passport bro, it's like an insult. Like you're this guy who's going around the world and like traveling and like hooking up with these girls that are like, from that you're taking advantage of them. It's a similar, I think, idea of like, oh, you're a Koreaboo. It's that same kind of like insult. You're trying to insult them for how they travel, and what they do. Does that make sense?
I think we better just define each of them differently.
They are defined differently, but I'm just trying to say it's like an insult,
Yeah,
like you're trying to
all...
hurt someone's feelings. You never say someone's a passport bro or
in the
Koreaboo.
point of like understand those things, there's some people who take advantage of being Korean boo or passport something, but the people who insult using those words might just ignore so anyway, so what you wanna talk about Korean boos? Just insulting someone who are obsessed with Korean culture by calling them Korean boo?
Well, it's like, I think I've been thinking about this a lot, and I was wondering why I was thinking about it. And it's because, yeah, like, there was one time that someone said it to me, but also there's like a lot of content now about it, and it's a very sensitive topic. And I was wondering, and Koreans don't really care that much, but foreigners like care. And I was like, it was making me really, really think about like how Westerners are just so easily like they are so willing to be offended or like attack other people for things like this. But I actually think that it's important. I actually do think this is an important word. So the original word Koreaboo, it actually comes from another word called weeaboo. weeaboo is, so right, it's like weeaboo is Japanese version of Koreaboo. So they just took the W out and then they put the K for Korea. So it's Koreaboo instead of weeaboo. But weeaboo actually, even before that, was the origin of that word was a Wabanese, which means want to be Japanese person. A foreigner who's like obsessed with Japan and wants to be Japanese. And they're like obsessed with anime and like Japanese girls and like all this stuff, right?
I get the point. And we can just put all the things as an Asian fever, I think. Does it make sense? Right?
Yeah.
In that point, I understand that someone hates Asian fever because, they just put all the Asian people, especially Asian women, in the same frame, which is really obedient and really devoting to their partner. And yes, and they might think Korean Asian women love foreign people, something like this. Yeah, so and then they just think like that and treat Asian people and just try to hook up any Asian because they are Asian. In that point, I don't like it. So there's a few gentlemen who approach me like this. They just talking about all the Asians, even they don't know where I am from. They don't care whether I am from China, Japan, or Korea. They just approached me because I'm Asian. So in that case, yeah, it's unpleasant. It's unpleasant and quiet. Yeah, I feel uncomfortable. Yeah, no idea why they approach. And because, they really desperate to make something with me, just having more conversation, longer conversation, and just being more together more time. But I have no idea because we just first met and we each other have no information about each other, right? Just they come easily. They won't approach to me and other Asian girl in the same way when it comes to just a white girl.
Right.
They just take it more easily to approach to Asian girl rather than other race people girl because we are obedient, is that right word? And just kind, just being always nice. We're just human being before Asian. So yeah, that's quite stressful. And there's a person who's showing all the tattoos covered his bodies were about Asian thing. He really just promising, just let's make a kitchen together and cook. But we only seen each other just twice. And we don't share any information of us. How old am I? And yeah, he's over 40 and I'm 21, but he says the age is just a number and something like this. And yeah, it's quite unpleasant experience.
Yeah. So if you can, I think, so if you can see it from, so we're kind of like tying everything together now. That I think used to not have a name. It used to just be a creepy old guy who's obsessed with Asians. Or then you said at some point it became like Asian fever, right? But now I think we call that passport bro. And it could be, that's the younger version. There's like younger guys, like maybe between 20 and 40. And then like 40 and older would be like even another category. I don't know. I'm just making this up now. I don't really know. Let's just call all guys that do that. Any guy who's doing that in Asia is like a passport bro who has Asian fever, right? And it makes you feel bad. And I understand. I can relate to you because I have something similar with me being tall. I'm 197 centimeters, and a lot of women only approach me because I'm because I'm tall. Like they don't know anything about me. They don't care about my personality. They don't care about anything. Just I'm tall, and that makes them attracted to me. And then they say, "Well, since you're tall, like I want, to cook dinner with you." As you put it. So my point is like, it doesn't, and that doesn't make me feel good. So I won't, if someone was to tell me like, usually if someone's like approaching me with "you're tall," I can feel like a red flag right away. Like, not always. Sometimes it's just an icebreaker, but most times I'm like, okay, this is like a weird way to address me as another human being. And so Koreaboo and Weeaboo is like next evolution of what you just, of Asian fever, because it's the natural evolution of Asian fever, because now it's about Koreans and Japanese people in their country, but what you're doing is the same concept. It's the same behavior, but just only for certain countries now, you know? You still are basically saying like all Korean people are idols or K-drama stars, right? So in your brain, you're like just treating any guy like a lot of girls have like these, like on Hello Talk, for example. If you go into a chat room on Hello Talk to like practice your Korean, many times you'll just find some random normal Korean dude with like 4 or 5 girls like in a chat room all flirting with him just because he's Korean, you know, and calling him like oppa and shit. It's really fucking weird. And it's part of this like Koreaboo mentality of like these girls, like they even talk like in the K-dramas, you know, like they talk like 감사합니다, like oppa, you know, like 말해주세요.
Stop.
You know,
I
it's
just
like,
finished my dinner.
but my point is like, you know, so now Passport Bro is like Koreaboo, and Koreaboo is not just men, it's also now women. So it's women and men obsessed about Korean pop fantasy of like Korean people are like K-pop star or like K-drama star, you know? So that's, I think, why it's kind of like I guess I'm saying this because it's like you're saying the Asian fever thing, and I'm seeing like, yeah, it's actually really just the next step of the same behavior, you know? But like, I don't know, what do you think is like the line? Like, I don't know, let me know if you need me to really explain this, but like, where's the line between just like being a fan of Korean culture and like, being obsessed in a way that's uncomfortable?
You can have your own vantage of anything, but it's different when it comes to interact with people in your fantasy. That's the point, I think. We can have our own fantasy of anything and doesn't care. And we must not judge about that. But if you make someone uncomfortable by interacting with them by your own fantasy, that is the point. You know, so we say it's a fantasy, but just it's one of a kind of stereotype, right? So fantasy is one of a stereotype, mostly in a good way, we call, but there's another just stereotype in a bad way. So whether it's better or not, it is inevitable to have some kind of stereotype to some things we've never experienced in person before. Because although we're living in abundance of information, there's some kind of trend, the information giving some kind of feeling, right? It is not easy to keep your balance and to be objective always. Just is fucking bad and you're kind of boo and something like this, because it's just normal and natural. We should understand those things. So I also understand when someone comes and asks me, "Are you from Japan?" To be honest, I know it's not a good way to asking their nationality, and who knows, I could be a German, but I understand because we are different with different backgrounds, so I understand it. But it will be stressful when he's talking, obsessed with his own fantasy and immersion. Yeah, so that is the point. We should understand those things. We should try not to offend, whether it's our intention or not. When you interact with someone who has different background and we've never interacted before, I think that is the key. And the other things, we can take it easy, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think I mostly agree with you. I feel like so right now I'm about to start creating a lot of content around, because I think it needs to be, I agree with you that there's no reason to attack people about this. But I also understand why people might attack people, and I can get into that later. But for now, I'll just say we shouldn't be attacking people about Koreaboo. Instead, we just need to help people, prevent people from having this misinformed idea of what Korea is. And so my goal is I'm actually making Don't Be a Koreaboo 101 class. So I'm helping foreigners understand, this is my goal, is to help foreigners understand what's real and what's fantasy. Because even though I don't think you should attack someone for being a Koreaboo, I do think that we should help people not be Koreaboos, because Koreaboo is kind of it's like naive, you know? Like you just think that, to think that a whole culture is just like their pop culture is a very naive way of thinking, right? Korea is so much more than just K-pop and K-drama. In fact, K-pop and K-drama is just a very small part of Korean culture.
Part of Korea.
Right. So, right, but it's not like every day, you know, I just hear some K-pop songs, sure, but I feel like Korean culture makes K-drama and K-pop, not the other way around. K-pop and K-drama don't make Korean culture. First Korean culture, then these things.
Yeah.
So we need to show people the real original thing so that they can understand that, which is authentic and true, and not the K-pop part, which is it's fantasy.
You know, the funny thing is, even Korean criticize some points of K-drama and K-pop because it's too much.
Oh, 맞아.
Yeah.
So I understand why, from a Korean's perspective, I feel like Koreans have different, something that you hear a lot is so Westerners that are talking about Koreaboos, they'll often say, hey, Koreans don't even care if you're a Koreaboo. They don't even know, you didn't know what the word was, right? But I asked you that, and in this situation, you didn't know. But actually, when I was in Seoul, I asked for many years, I asked people, about people, how they felt about people who are obsessed with them. Because Korean guys, I know a lot of Korean guys, actually not even this time in Korea, it's the opposite. Not even guys obsessed with girls, it's girls obsessed with, it's foreigner girls who are obsessed with guys, Korean guys. So I'd ask the Korean guys, how do you feel about these girls? And they thought they're weird. They're freaks, they're crazy. But they really like me, so I don't really care. They're willing to date me, so
Why not?
I like that. Yeah, exactly.
Why not? Yeah, so I can say, which I can clear those things. So fantasy is fantasy. So when you project your fantasy into real person in reality, that is the problem, I think. And, before it's to be a K-drama or a K-pop, it's a production, a good to be consumed, right? So they produce those things because there is some demand who willing to consume those kind of K-fantasy. So, yeah, that is it, I think.
Yeah, so then one of the reasons we need to not be Koreaboos is because if you act in the way of a Koreaboo, then you're actually turning Koreans into a product.
Also, yeah, they just regard the older Koreans as a projection of their fantasy, right?
Exactly. And that has a lot, and there's a lot of problems with that. That's actually why, this is my number one reason why I think this is an important topic. And if you look at Japan is a great example of a country that has already been through what Korea is going through right now with this Koreaboo thing. And I feel that the outcome will ultimately be the same. In the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, weeaboo, people who are obsessed with Japanese fantasy, they started obsessing about this and projecting their fantasy onto Japanese people. And now at this point, Japanese people are sick of the foreigners that are coming, those kinds of foreigners, because if you're the kind of person who projects your fantasy and commodifies other people, there's a certain level of instability, and that's not a good trait in a person. That's a bad trait in a person. And the people who are doing that are not the best they're not the most mentally, if you're doing that, you're not the most mentally secure and safe person because you have to live in a fantasy in order to feel safe. You can't live in reality. And if those people are going to Japan, then of course Japan nowadays is like, we don't want foreigners anymore. Please don't come to Japan.
Really?
Yeah, Japan is extreme. I don't know if you've seen, but even if we don't know if it's real or not. Even if it's not real, it exists on the internet. There's a lot of propaganda about Japan that doesn't want foreigners anymore. And I'm worried that if we keep going down this path with K-drama and K-pop, then eventually Koreans are going to keep getting more and more of these kinds of foreigners in Korea, and they're going to think foreigners are freaks, you know? And as someone who genuinely loves Korea for things that have nothing to do with K-pop or K-drama, like I feel worried about that because especially in Korea, there's low diversity, a lot of this like same ways of thinking between many people. I'm just a foreigner. I'm just 외국인. And if they see 99 외국인 and they're all kind of like fantasy, kind of be acting unstable with this fantasy, they're just going to see me as they're going to just be like, oh, that guy must be like them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that's another reason why I want to be clear, like partially, I'm doing this partially for my love for the collective of Korea because I want Koreans to have the truth. I also am doing this for myself because I want to protect. I've actually always felt like this in Korea. Like I need to be a good example of a foreigner and show Koreans what a good foreigner, like how productive and kind and collaborative a foreigner can be, not just be this like person who's fetishizing your culture. So I want to make these videos and try to help not attack Korea boos, but just try to help create better awareness about what the life is like actually in Korea, what Korean culture is really about, you know? So yeah, that's why I think like, well, I don't know. So like what are a sign that you think someone, like at what line do you think someone goes from like appreciation to being obsessed? Because obsession is what kind of makes you a Korea boo. So like what's the line between like appreciating and obsession?
Understanding in person. Because, fantasy is from their way they would like to think like, right? There's no chance to understand as a human being. It's just a fantasy, like watching an animation. Yeah, but when you come to confront any foreigners, please Korean, or wherever, just treat them just a human being, and you can respect the culture of their country. That's just interaction, which you can say appreciating. But when you come to just immersed and obsessed with something that you haven't as a fantasy, you just put all the Korean or any person where you are immersed in just in the same frame. They have their own characters, but they put all the people in the same frame and treat them like to just be satisfied, to just fulfill their fantasy, right? So there's no understanding as a human being each other, I think. So there's a line. This is the line, I think.
Yeah, I like that take. I think that's a good example.
Thank you.
Have you met people outside of like this old guy you mentioned or some of them? Have you met like, or, when you've been in Korea, have you seen people who are like obsessed, foreigners that are obsessed with like K-drama and K-pop and stuff?
There is a cafe I enjoyed visiting, and there's a staff who is from India. She's an Indian girl who loves Korean drama, but she's really nice because we just interact each other as just a friend. Although she's really love Korean drama, she doesn't put me in her own frame. So yeah, that's a good example, I think. And I cannot say I never. So there's some girlfriend I met in Berlin who's really obsessed with K-drama and K-pop, but there's nothing like just pull me in a frame, which I really appreciate. I don't think so. Just there's a guy who approached me in that way. The tattoo guy, that is all. And I cannot sure he is bad or not even because he's but too obsessed, and so I cannot sure. But also at the same time, I would like to address that just being obsessed with fantasy doesn't mean it's a bad things. You can be, but some kind of people, some kind nice person have some kind of fantasy, right? And they might unconsciously project their fantasy to some of certain people. It might stress them, but at the same time, I know they're not that bad people and they didn't do that on purpose. So maybe I like to offer that just nudging them to notice the better way, not only just accusing them. Everyone make mistakes. So, that's lack of understanding each other. These days, we only see some of few part of all beings, right? So it's inevitable to judge things with limited sources, limited information. But
Well, I don't think that's like a necessity. I think in my opinion, the right way to live your life, this is just my opinion.
yeah,
When you don't know about something, you don't assume. You just go in with an open mind.
but
Maybe
the point is they don't know.
right. Right. So that's exactly what this is about. I'm trying to create awareness about this topic, but the problem is there's a lot of awareness about it right now. It's trending topic, but the problem is no one actually talks about it. Like no one really talks about it. And I honestly think some people you see some content creators talking about it. I feel like their perspectives are, I hate to say this, I feel like they are just saying, I feel like their responses are not that intelligent.
And at the
Like,
same time,
I want to explain it really quick. The reason they're not intelligent is because it seems like their response, their videos about Koreaboo is like a response to their attacks. If someone's attacking them and calling them a Koreaboo, it's not like never have I heard anyone say Koreaboo origin is weeaboo. The fact that you don't know that there's that connection, to me, I feel like I already start to question, do you even know, if you don't know this whole story and you don't see the big picture of how this has played out in Japan for 30 years or more, then I feel like you don't really have a good idea of what's happening with Koreaboo. And also, they don't often give the right definition. They'll either give a weird, like the incorrect definition of the word, or they will, like one girl said that Korean people don't care about Koreaboo. And even though they might not know the word, when in my experience talking to Koreans about this, they know the idea of a Koreaboo. They can acknowledge, they know when that girl is a little obsessed with Koreans. That girl is obsessed with K-drama. That girl is obsessed with K-pop. And there's many like videos online that show like, even like Hongdae guy. Do you know Hongdae guy?
Let's get it. Hongdae guy.
It's like this, do you live alone? Do you know that? No?
Okay. Hongdae guy asking, do you live alone? To random person or random
To
woman?
foreigner girls. To foreigner girls. In Hongdae.
Just all of a sudden?
Yeah, like what? Like there's the
Oh,
idea is that
shit.
there's guys in Hongdae that they're basically there to find foreign girls. He'll say like, are you open-minded? Do you live alone? So what this means, his existence means that Koreans are aware of these foreign girls that are obsessed with Korean men and K-drama. And the Hongdae guy even dresses like a K-drama guy.
I thought they can approach to foreign girls easily because they're not Korean, so there's some higher possibility the foreign women are more open-minded.
I'm like certain that they don't actually care if their mind is open. They don't want an open mind. They want something else. When they say, are you open-minded, they mean, are you willing to, are you like
Just
sexually.
hooking up men, right?
맞아.
Also, it could be the one like foreign view of Korean people, whether
Yeah,
they're
right.
Korean girl, woman, or man. They regard that foreigners are more open-minded, so they might easily have chance to hook up someone. So I don't think it's kind of Korean blue issue, just the lack of intelligence,
Well,
acknowledgement.
I mean, it's pretty true. I actually think it's very intelligent. In my opinion, if you're a Korean guy and you want to hook up with girls, if that's your main objective, we could question that. We can question that separately. But if that's your objective, it's actually the intelligent thing to do to go and find foreign girls because they are, especially the Korea boos, are obsessed with you. So they're willing to, it's like a perfect relationship.
Well, I know, but it is really funny thing that they regard the older foreign woman or man in Korea are Korean boo. I don't think so.
No. I mean, I live in Korea, right? I'm not a Korea boo, but it's not all people. But if you go to Hongdae and you like watch K-dramas and K-pop and you have the fantasy and you see this guy walk up to you in his leather jacket, with his like being all like, he's all like, hey, do you live alone? Like, like all Korean drama style,
Oh, I have no idea what's going on in Korea. Really?
Yeah, you got to watch. Okay, you got to watch after this. We'll watch it together and you'll see. But yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing right now. So, yeah. But what you're saying needs to be acknowledged that there may be guys that target foreign girls because they acknowledge, I think this is very reasonable. They may see foreign women as more open-minded when it comes like sexually. But I would say from my experience, many foreign women in Korea will only want to date Asian or Korean guys, and they are obsessed. They're obsessed with Korean guys. If a guy approaches them in that kind of like K-drama way, they are more open-minded, I think a normal person,
Yeah, that makes
like
sense.
they might be open-minded, but they're very open-minded if you're Korean and kind of look like you're a K-drama star,
Who match their fantasy.
Exactly. So I think that's, it's like because a lot of people are blaming the Hongdae guy, but my whole take, like right
From
now,
who? Foreigners or Korean?
everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah, like if you look at the comments, there's like Korean people are like, we're sorry about Hongdae guy. And then foreigners are like, oh, it's so gross, But I'm like, you don't understand. Like this exists. Hongdae guy only can exist because of foreign girls. If there were no foreign girls, the Hongdae guy couldn't exist because Korean girls would have a different standard.
So please be clear. If foreign girls exist, that least Hongdae가 exist, or foreign girls who are Korean boo makes Hongdae가 exist.
It's almost like they're evolved. Like, Pokemon, right? How there's like stages.
Pokemon.
Oh, there's like first stage, second stage. They
Yeah.
evolve, I feel like first would happen if this is my total imagination, but I think it's reasonable. Hongdae is one of the places where there's a lot of international students. So back in the day, like even before Korea Boo, foreign women might be more open-minded, right? And more open, especially like in college, people are experimenting and stuff. So you have Korean guys notice that there's these foreign girls that are going to school in Hongdae are open-minded, right? But then they start to talk. Korean guys talk to Korean guys. Foreign girls talk to foreign girls, right? So Korean guys start telling their friends like, hey, I was like hooking up with this foreign girl in Hongdae. And that becomes a spread, like a rumor. And everyone starts knowing about it. This is how it works. Wait, why are you making that face? You don't agree that that's how it would work?
It's too much abbreviation to just say oversimplified. Over for me.
Like, I've seen this happen, like, for example, in high school, if there's a girl who is willing to sleep with other guys in high school, she becomes popular. Why? Because guys talk to the other guys and they say, hey, I slept with this girl. I kissed this girl. Now other guys want to kiss that girl. That's like literally, I've experienced that in my life firsthand,
Yeah, it will make sense in one school. like these small groups, but it's a phenomena which is in larger scale. I have no idea because I have no idea what's going on in Korea, I think. It's my first time to hear about those things. So
It's
I cannot
interesting.
assure anything. I cannot assure anything because I have no idea. I know nothing.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like I'm trying to think of theories, of how and why this is happening. I'm definitely not saying that what I think is the truth. I'm an investigator of the truth, trying to uncover the truth. But
Okay,
in
so
this, yeah.
how you can define yourself that you're not a Korean boo?
Well, I would say I'm not a Korea boo because these are my personal reasons. I never knew about Korea before I traveled there. When I went to Korea, I only went to Korea because I had to. In my case, I had to go to Korea to lay over in Japan.
Nice. Wow.
So I didn't know. I only heard about Korea like Old Boy, kimchi. I think that's pretty much really it. Maybe chicken. Like I knew those things from the United States, but I didn't know. I knew Seoul. Literally, I think like less than 10 things I ever heard about Korea before I went to Korea. So, and I think like for me, I just arrived there and I was very open to the country. I had an open mind about what existed. I didn't have a fantasy at all before I got there. I knew nothing. Second is, I think I'm a very like when I travel, I like to get to know people. So I don't care. Like, I don't listen to K-pop. I don't listen, like, even now, I don't listen to K-pop. I not really, sometimes, but not really. Don't really watch K-drama. I never talk about it. Like, I don't think that Korean life is like that because I lived in Korea for 2 years.
True.
Like, I don't have that fantasy and I don't put that on Korean people. I think also, like, part of it, like you said, is awareness. Like, I'm aware that it even exists. So it's like a lot harder to be a Koreaboo if you know that it exists. But I do. The thing is, the reason that I get maybe a little like question myself, like, am I a Koreaboo? Is because like I want to live in Korea, I want to become a Korean resident. So I think I want to learn Korean. So I think to myself, like, are these things that make me a Koreaboo?
So the point is you started to make some contents about Korean as a foreigner. So it might look as a Korean boo, right? Because you make contents about Korea as a foreigner being, right?
Right. That's a good point too. I didn't say that, but yeah, exactly. I've been making YouTube videos about Korea.
So yeah, it's kind of inevitable to seems like that. Korean, if you're Korean and like to make contents, we're not gonna make something Korean thing, right? We're just doing something others maybe. And
Yeah, I
that
think-
content implies all the Korean culture, even though they didn't tend so, right? That is the literal Korean thing. But when you, as a foreigner, started to make some contents about Korea, you more like to put something Korean on purpose, right? So that is the point, I think.
I mean, I think living in Korea, it's like natural for me to, I think the point of like when I decided that I wanted to make Korean content, the reason I decided was because I need to learn, I want to keep learning about Korean culture, right? So, and I want to share that experience with other people. Like people are always asking me like, why do you live in Korea? Like, I'm just literally answering these questions. So I'm like, I should just make content about it. And also, I don't speak fluent Korean yet. So I kind of thought of this as like a way for me to connect deeper to authentic Korean culture. Like my content is about like having you on the show, like a Korean person and talking to you and getting deep into the ideas of Korea, not just, the fantasy of it. So yeah, I understand. I actually totally can understand how like someone could see me and think this guy is obsessed with Korea. But would you look at a historian? Let's say there's a historian that's white and he is studying Korean history. Would he be a Koreaboo? I don't think so. I think of myself more like that, like a historian or like an art, like someone who's like involved with contemporary Korean culture, then I think of myself as like someone who is fantasizing about pop culture in Korea. So that's, I think, where there's a big difference between me and like even many other content creators.
Yeah, also what I've seen before is like they pretend too enthusiastic, just too obsessed with, they exaggerate all the good points of Korean, just talking about Korea is really nice because something, 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 and just pretending a huge fan of Korea to get some votes, some fan from Korea because yeah, some Korean likes those kind of video who just advertise Korean good things and get some proud of that. So, but I don't think it seems not that good. So, yeah,
So tell me, so like,
they just pretend and overreact.
but do they live in Korea?
Maybe, yeah, they must have lived, but I have no idea because I didn't go deep about them. Just watches a few in my
Yeah, that's
memory.
interesting. So like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I wonder, like, is that person a Korea boo? Like, I think I could be closer to being a Korea boo from that perspective because like I do make content about Korea and it's all positive.
I won't say it doesn't mean those people are Korean boo. Just talking all the things positive about Korea. For me, it's just Korean boo sounds stupid. They started to using Korean boo to just accusing someone who really obsessed with Korean fantasy, right?
That's how it started, but then now it's becoming something that people are just saying to everyone. If you like Korea, people will just say you're a Korean boo. You know, it's a trend. It's just like a trend to insult people in the West.
Then I can say it's not about Korean boo. It's just something about some assholes who has hobby, who just assaulting people as hobby, I think.
Could be that.
Yeah.
I actually think a lot, if I had to guess, a lot of people who, based on my experiences in life, people who tend to say things like that are projecting their own insecurities about themselves onto
That's
other people.
true. Everything starts from projecting in your inner mind. Yeah.
So like, you know, I happen to be someone who is like very self-reflective. Like I take things seriously and I go deep with them. Like this conversation is a very deep conversation. Maybe this is the most deep conversation anyone's ever had about Korea
You
Boo.
think so?
Yeah, I don't think people are talking about Korea Boo this deeply. So but you know, like again, the reason why I want to do this is I don't want to live in a world where Koreans can respect and appreciate foreigners in Korea. And I'm worried that the trend, honestly, I don't care if someone tries to insult me and calls me Korea boo. That part of it doesn't matter to me. As long as I know that I'm not. And I'm not. And then on top of that, I don't want to live in a world where Koreans are looking at me and saying like, oh, he's a foreigner. He's probably a Korea boo. Because I want to be able to live comfortably in Seoul, you know? I want to live I want people to say, oh, look, that foreigner runs his own software company, you know? Or that foreigner has cool fashion. I don't want them to think like a foreigner is obsessed with everything about Korea is probably annoying, you know?
Yeah, but some kind of those stereotypes they have derived from their experience, I think.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying that I feel a pressure to get less Korea boos because Korean people are currently experiencing Korea boo. So I'm saying
that is also true.
Yeah. So I'm saying I need to help people not be so naive and ignorant about Korean culture so that they don't act like that. And then Korean people have less experiences. And then overall, everyone wins. It's a win for everyone.
That's really sweet and nice, Will. But, at the same time, there's always crazy people. Like, not only Korean boo, just thinking about so let's say we go to a Korean club and I've never experienced those people, but you told me, as I remember, some of clubs doesn't welcome foreigners, right? The religion, you remember?
Yeah.
So I asked why, and they just hate just foreigners entering the club.
맞아.
Maybe the club maybe experience something crazy. Approaching to a woman in bad manner, something like this. So maybe it's club. As club happens, always crazy thing happens in clubs, but they must have experienced more crazy things before about something foreigners. So they like to ban foreigners to enter their club. But I'm worried that those kind of people might consider those things too seriously. That they won't take the serious. The point is, there's always nice foreigners, even though they have Korean boo. They can behave nice to Koreans, not projecting directly their fantasy. But the thing is, who's really crazy and selfish? People won't consider about those things. So it will happen, although you make things better. So yeah, there's a
It's not,
limit.
well, it's not a light switch. I'm not trying to of course I would love to just make the relationships between Korea and the rest of the world perfect, but it's like the less it happens, the less Koreans experience it, the less times that there will be negative. It's just to make it better. It's not fix it, you
I
know?
see.
What do you think about the way that foreigners are seen today
Foreigners seen today
in Korea?
in Korea. Just getting diverse, I think. Many
What do you-
countries. Yeah. Even Middle Asia. Those people from Middle Asia was really rare to see in Korea. But now, these days, they're common. It's easy to see, especially in Hyundai, the city for tourism. Yeah, so more diverse. But just the total amount of people who visit Korea getting more. That's all. And yeah, there's nothing hates or good to interact with foreign people, but just as personal experience, just it is fun and opens my eyes to world more widely when I have conversation with them, because they have literally different background with Korea, right? That is all.
Have you had any bad experiences with foreigners?
Bad experiences, I cannot define as of just because they're foreigner, but when I work at hotel receptionist at the front desk,
That must have been horrible.
there's a huge customers guests who they were all Navy, U.S. Army, and one of them literally approached me for sexual purpose with unpleasant manner. He told me I'm really into Asian culture, and I also learned how to massage skin.
Sorry for laughing, but that's insane.
And for me, I can deal with those shitty things myself, but so I try my best to let him keep the line between us, and let him notice he's crossing the line. Yeah, he left me after that, but there's another hotel desk which operated by another company, so also it's in same building. So he then went to that hotel front desk. It's night time, as I remember, and there's only one woman receptionist there, like me. Yeah, he went there and tried to talk something, maybe similar way. So that made me pissed off, because for me it is okay, because I've been through those kind of things quite a lot. I'm not sure, but so now I know how to deal with those things. So there's nothing to stress me. But for that woman, I don't think so. And as far as I know, she doesn't speak English, so there's more struggles for her. So yeah, that made me upset, because it's for me. For me, it is okay because I can deal with, but when my guest makes others unpleasant from other, whether they're from company or my other guests, that made me obsessed. So that's
Yeah, of course.
all.
So do Korean guys do that too?
Korean guys do that to me? No, because no.
Yeah. So this is the point, right? Is like that I would say that people who act like that make life difficult for other foreigners in Korea, you know?
Yes, but let's approach those kind of things in a different view. We are more tend to act following our instinct and something that I want to do more easily when you are abroad because nobody cares and you're gonna leave soon. So it is more easy to do something crazy.
I mean, I think that way of thinking is crazy. Like, I've never thought that.
Really?
Yeah. I feel the same. No matter where I go, I act the same.
But that's for you. Like
Well, I'm
like
just I think that's the definition of stability.
like
You
what
know?
you said about passports something.
Passport bro.
They also act like that because of the same reason. Because they cannot behave like that in his country because he is in their country. But when they go abroad, they feel more freedom because nobody knows him. Even if others know him, there's always a chance that he can leave one day. So yeah.
Yeah, but he's not. So that okay, yes, for sure. That's part of this whole equation, but the thing that is sad about it is like this is exactly my point. Actually, is that even though he's a foreigner and he created this story for you that you just told me of like, but kind of makes sense because if you're a foreigner and you go to a foreign country, you're going to feel more free to treat people, to like take risks basically with people. And that is a reasonable thing to think. I understand that's probably part of that equation of why he did that. But I think that's what we need to defend people. Like, that's bad behavior because I don't know like how, it's hard to say what's good behavior, what's bad behavior, but I'll say it's unstable, right? If you're the kind of person who goes to a place and is willing to make people feel uncomfortable in one area, but not in another area, then you're unstable as a person.
Maybe you can say it's unstable behavior, but also that is the original version of them. Just the country and the system they stuck in made him last behave like that, I think.
But a stable person would just not, because it's not even about, honestly, that situation for me, it's not even about that I'm in a different country. It's because I wouldn't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Like, I wouldn't want to it's harassment, right? He's harassing you. He's harassing that lady. It's not even about being in a different country. Like, this guy is willing to sexually harass women, regardless of where he is. Like, if you're willing to do that anywhere, that's fucked up, And that's how I feel about, like, the fact that so many of these passport bros and that these, like, people with Asian fever, that they have this behavior pattern of, like, being willing to harass women, that to me that's why I say, like, I feel like I have to defend the honor of foreigners because, like, I wouldn't do that anywhere. I wouldn't harass women in Korea. I wouldn't harass women in the US. And it's not because I'm in a different country. It's because I fundamentally don't believe in harassing people. Do you know what I mean? I don't want, I don't want Koreans or anyone to think like, oh, foreigners just will harass our women. That's like a fucked up way of, if those are the kinds of people who are traveling to Korea because they have this fantasy, I can just go and harass women. That's bad. That's very bad for me. It's very bad for Korean women. It's very bad for Korean culture. So,
but actually, yeah. So I understand. And not only he, just some are Korean also do harassment directly sometimes. And also I experienced that too. So the thing is, whether he was foreigner or not, but as I experienced those things from both, I don't think it's the matter of just Korean boo or some foreigner who obsessed with fantasy. They're being.
Yeah, they're just being themselves.
There's some point about it which is derived from Korean boo, but it's more like just their intelligence and
But that's actually, okay, exactly. So this ties everything together is like, to me, in order to be a Korean boo to begin with, you have to be a certain level of naive. If you think, and I'm speaking to you out there, if you think that Korean culture is like K-drama and like K-pop, and if you think that you're going to go to Korea and you're going to find your K partner and you're going to live your K fantasy with your K babies, like that is a unstable way of thinking. And if you're willing to live and think about things in that way, about, K culture, probably you're willing to think about the way about harassing women. It's like a stable, grounded, reasonable person wouldn't harass women, and a stable, grounded, reasonable person probably wouldn't believe in K fantasy. Like, so that's where the correlation is, is that there's a certain level of mental instability that you need to have to do these behaviors. And yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter where you're from. Korean guys, literally, Korean girl, there's even this whole thing like the Oxford study. Do you know the Oxford study? It's this thing about now that's coming out, like apparently Asian girls are like way more likely to date white men, or like really will always choose white men over any other kind of person. This is a study that people are talking about on the internet now. And it's like, even Asian women are doing that. Everyone does it. But for me personally, my scope of influence, what I can affect and what I feel passionate about is just my surroundings, like I try to make a positive impact or create awareness around the things that surround me. So I live in Seoul. I live in Korea. I am making content. This thing that's happening around me right now is the Korea boo thing. And I feel like it needs to be addressed. People need help to be more respectful about Koreans and Korean culture. And I think if we do that, we'll help people realize like maybe other places in their life where they're being unstable. Maybe they can find a pattern in the way that they thought about Korea and the fantasy, and they could say, oh, I also have this fantasy about these other things. I also have this so I do feel like it's about, this is really about improving people's mental health ultimately.
yeah, but also not only just addressing about those Korean boo issue and trying to correct something better, I would choose just introduce more real thing, the reality of Korean. That
Mm.
doesn't need to just addressing about Korean boo, just showing them how the Korean really is going on. For my opinion, Korean boo is one of the way the people's mental issue revealed. There's various way, but Korean boo is one of the way. All those kind of things like Asian fever, Korean boo, it's just lack of understanding human being is something like unconnected. They don't know how to be connected naturally. So they just build their own fantasy in their mind and project them. But it is just the way their problem revealed outwardly. Just Korean boo, just correcting Korean boo it helps, but there's a limit because it's not the
root of the issue.
Yeah, root of the
Core.
issue, exactly. So just showing them the real Korea will help you more. It will help others more, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think for me, like that's naturally what I do is I create content about Korea. That's what I'm already doing. The Korea boo thing is like, it's the thing that people are it's like, because it's revealed itself now, it's like the way that I'm going to reach them. Like, in order to even have seen by them, in order for them to even see that I'm creating this content, they need to be addressed in this way, So that's kind of like, that's why I'm taking this path really, is like, because like, for sure, I'm already making videos about like like every week I've released a video like why I live in Korea, just explaining my experiences, talking about it naturally, not about Korea boo, you know? But now how am I going to get, most of my viewers are Korean. So how am I going to get foreigners to watch, you know? I need to address them directly, you know?
Yeah.
This is the thing that they are paying attention to right now. And also there is a lot, I think that there does need to also be a lot of, I do think that there needs to be some people in this space talking about this that are providing people with clarity, because it's a very popular topic. And there's a lot of people making statements about Koreaboo with very little backing. Again, like I've seen so many people talk about Koreaboo and not actually know what the definition of Koreaboo is. It's like they make it up, their own definition.
Yeah, because it's trend and a chance to make a content.
So I think I don't mind. I feel like if I'm going to participate in trends, it has to be from this perspective of like giving a deeper view of the situation and seeing how I can use it to.
That. Yeah, somebody should do that.
Yeah, somebody needs to do that. Yeah.
Good.
So
does the previous interview is working or you finished editing?
I have it. I didn't really I didn't do anything with it because I was like, maybe
I'm not sure you can make something with that. Those are crazy.
Oh, 맞아.
Do you think this time is better?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a relief.
I feel like generally if you and I talk, we're going to create good moments, you know, but it's just like the last time was like very much like a you and me moment. Like it was very personal, you know, like you and I will enjoy those conversations, but I think most people would be like, what the fuck?
Right. Looking for the day to see you in Korea and show you some Korean things, like my grandma making kimchi.
That'd be so fun.
된장, yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, I cannot imagine how my grandmother reacts when she see you. 더 big foreign guy come her house to see how kimchi is made. Yeah,
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to like that. I think that specific concept of going and making kimchi is like exactly what it's like the thing I'm the most excited to make the video for, you know? So many people around the world eat kimchi and just, I feel like nobody knows anything about how it's made, you know? Even me, like I went to eat kimchi. I went to a restaurant the other day and I learned about kimchi from just the waiter. He taught me about the fermentation process. And I was like, I really know this is such a common food that everyone eats around the world and no one knows about it, you know?
Yeah, even Korea, like me.
You've never made it with your grandma?
I just look over her shoulders making kimchi.
맞아. One thing that I've been curious about is like there are so many of these old traditions in Korea, and it seems like the younger generation, like us, we have no interest in like these old traditions.
Yeah, that's also the part I want to address, really, because, you know, they forgot the value of tradition and old one. Yeah, it's old, but, you know, there's reason why the old thing remained still. When they start to neglect those things, world will become more shitty, I think.
Yeah, for sure. You know, that's actually also, I think it would be very prolific for a foreigner to come to Korea and be the person to document these old Korean traditions.
Yeah.
And be like,
I love to.
People would be like, it's almost like I think that would be a gift to Korea that I could give. Like, I'm sure it exists, you know, I'm sure that it exists, but, you know.
But there's less viewer who would like to see those things spending their own time because, you know.
I think one day people will care though. I think it's like you don't know what you have until it's gone.
When it becomes really problem.
Mata.
Like
one day everyone will notice that all the kimchi tastes like it comes from a factory. And then they'll say, why is all the kimchi in our, you know, like, why is all the kimchi bad? And then they'll realize, oh, no one is making kimchi anymore.
You know, my mom bought kimchi, which is made from factory, but it tastes good. It really tastes good.
Fair
Fucking
enough.
good.
All right, I guess I don't need to make the video.
Anyway, but you're right. Something's gonna be bad when you really miss something, because we don't appreciate those things because we take it from granted, but it's nothing we take it granted, right? There is nothing we can take it granted in the world.
Well, on that note, we should do this again. Let's call it. I don't. How long have we been doing this? But yeah, this was really fun. I'm glad we got to talk. Thanks for indulging me. Topic.